You know what's off limits in China right now? Girly men in the movies. September 3rd, Amazon released its remake of Cinderella. This is news to me. I haven't caught the movie yet. This is featuring Billy Porter, whom I've never heard of, in the role of a genderless fairy godmother. So he's a guy, but he's like from what I take it from the costume, he's like a flamboyant, gender-bending fairy godfather mother. Officials in China have called for, quote, resolutely putting an end to sissy men and other abnormal aesthetics on television. The party also instructed entertainment producers not to cast actors with, quote, lapsed morals and incorrect political positions. And they're banning reality shows that feature the children of stars, arguing that these promote a, quote, unhealthy preoccupation with vulgar internet celebrities, as well as an admiration of wealth and celebrity. They're also banning excessive video game use by kids, to which I would say, it doesn't sound so bad, does it? You never want to be on the side of the Communist Party in China, and I'm not, but on the broader point, I suppose I am. Because what is really clear in China is something that exists in America, but people are just not clear about it. Namely, there actually are standards and limits that are in place. The standards and limits are just different. In America, the blob, the liberal establishment that runs Hollywood, that the studios system, the not the old studio system, but the new way that it works, is such that you really can't produce movies that are patriotic, that take a positive view of American history, that include strong masculine men who are good, who are not toxic, and women who are womanly. That's not really permitted. It's always the woman can't be saved by the man anymore. The damsel in distress, the woman has to save herself, or she has to come in and save the man even, or, the man has to be sort of effeminate or very toxic, or it's always got to be ideological with very few exceptions, especially these days. So what China is regressing toward, I guess you would say, is Maoism. That Mao did this stuff too. He said, now there's going to be really rigid rules in place about our art. We don't want just pure agitprop, but we also don't want girly men and unpatriotic themes, and we don't want all this craziness in the movies. We recognize that the culture is going to craft the citizenry, and we want to make sure that the culture is doing a good job. The left they imported this directly from Mao, actually, in the 1960s, from China, and it has shaped the way that leftism in America has progressed in the ensuing decades. I write about this a lot in my book, Speechless. So they're right. I think we need to acknowledge that they're right, and I think we need to, once again, move beyond this really shallow language of, you do whatever you want. The government can never do anything. And we should never tell Hollywood that they shouldn't make a movie, that is unpatriotic or anti-American or inverting of standards. We can't do that because everyone should be able to do whatever they want at any given time. Politics is downstream of culture. The politics never affects the culture, as we're often told. No. To use a line from George Will, actually, back when he was conservative, statecraft is soulcraft. Yes, the prevailing culture in a society will shape the kind of government that society has, but the government will also shape the kind of people that are there. We know this. Conservatives admit this all the time. Whenever we complain about the Great Society and the governmental upheavals of the 1960s, how it destroyed the black family, what we are acknowledging is the government can shape the citizenry. The politics can shape the culture as well. And what China is saying is, yeah, we don't want all of our men to stop being men. Yeah, we don't want all of our kids to waste all their time on video games. Yeah, we don't want all of our citizens to hate their country. So we're going to suppress those kinds of themes. In the late 1930s, you had some of the greatest films that were ever made were all made during this period. And, part of this is because of the Hays Code. This was an industry self-regulating system to avoid government censorship. And so they created their own self-censorship. And you had all of these really, really great movies. But movies weren't always wholesome in the past. Actually, before the Hays Code went into effect, you had a bunch of filthy, degenerate movies. I'm thinking you may have seen a clip of one of them going around the internet. It kind of became a meme of like all sorts of people who look all sort of, they have all sorts of crazy problem. I think the movie's called Freaks, right? And it's like one of us, Google gobble. And it's just, the whole point of it is this, it's supposed to be a freak show and, you know, very perverse and weird and creepy. And a lot of movies were like that back then. And then there was some self-regulation and you had really high works of art and frankly, a culture that I think was healthier. And now we're regressing toward that. So I'm not saying we gotta, you know, copy China exactly. The problem with China is and they're using this kind of language. They want to be revolutionary. They want to be socialist. They want to use the government to impose that Maoist cultural revolution once again. We don't want to do that. But we need to recognize that the government and the culture and the institutions are going to shape people. So we should use that for good, traditional American ends. I'm so glad you liked that clip. That makes me feel very good. If you wanted to express your feelings about the clip, please leave me a comment below. What I really need you to do, though, to help us get around a little bit of the censorship that sometimes happens is head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Type in The Michael Knowles Show. They're probably not even going to want it to come up to the top, but find it, subscribe, maybe leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next time.